Right, what am I doing here? Right, a quick live one. It's Friday. I'm not busy for once this evening, and so I thought, you know what? Let's have a quick look at some upcoming stuff, and we'll have a little chat. And I know people normally complain and they say, TrailTrek, why do you keep having these live streams on a Saturday morning and Sunday morning when I'm in another country and I can't get in contact with you? Yes, I understand that, but I have been extremely busy due to some ongoing issues which needed to be dealt with. And so I haven't been spending as much time with the channel as I've wanted to, but I'm trying to catch up at the minute. So we'll go over some of the stuff that I've been sent. Now, the first stuff that I've been sent, this one, in fact, I bought this one. I had quite a few people, and I talked to one of the guys on the Discord channel, and he said, you know, I've been looking at this light and it was very similar in design to this. Basically, I think there's a lot of companies who get this reference design and it's the same thing and you see it all over the shop. So you'll see it under various different brand names and all sorts of things. So generally what it is it's a cob light. So you've got these cob LEDs which give you a floody beam at the front, and it's one band that goes around the head, and then you have this side lamp. And what you might also notice is you'll see in the videos that they'll do, you'll see people waving their hands and turning it on and off. Yes, that is a function. It's some sort of capacitive function. But I'll tell you, yes, it does work, but it's a bit of a pain in the backside, and I'll explain why. So, I'm not even going to bother doing a review of this. I mean, it looks brilliant on paper. You've got your cob LEDs at the front and sensors and sensor emission, whatever the hell that is. And it's got a few decent modes. Yeah, it's got cobs and flashes, and 350 and you get 2.5 hours. Okay, that's all very well, but looking at it, it's not as expensive and cool as you might think. So it's pretty cheap. So you've got the usual granny's knicker elastic here. Actually, to be fair, it isn't that bad, but I fear that this may not last, although it does have like a soft felt to it, which, okay, I will give them marks for that. Well done. And it's adjustable through this system here. So this goes around your head, and obviously this would be at the front. Now you don't have an over the top, but really it's not heavy enough to warrant that. This is relatively light for the size of and what it is. So here's your cob lights. So if I turn this on, now there's two buttons. You've got on, and then you've got this super secret button, which I'll show you in a moment. So there's on, and there's your cob lights, but you've got different intensity levels. So looking at it like that, you probably think, well, that's pretty cool. What the hell is he whinging about? It is cool, but there are better implementations of this. If you can get them cheap, though, fair enough. And then I think you press it again, don't you? Right, so once it's on, you can go through the modes there. So there you go. So what you basically got is you've got high, low, and then you've got your side lamp, high and low, and that's it. I mean, there are other modes to it, but that's your basic modes. Now, the problem I have with it is, especially this sensor mode, which sounds cool. You can wave your hand and magically turn it on and off. Aye, okay, fair enough. So let's try that. So let's see, we've got the main beam on there, and see, I've turned that on now. So now, if I wave my hand, yeah, see how it turns the light on and off. That seems brilliant. So you could be doing something, you could be, patrolling with a machine gun, and then you go, haha, I need a light, and then wave the hand and then get it on and off. The problem with it is when you scratch your nose or it rains or you go past a tree or something, it keeps turning on and off. I don't particularly want that when I'm out hiking or camping, because if it turns on and off at the wrong moment, it's not ideal, is it? I would have rather have seen, I don't know, maybe it's a touch pad so you could just quickly swipe it up and down or something, but that's of limited functionality to me. If I was working on a car engine, the same would be true. I don't think I'd want that feature. So that's it on there. Once a hand comes near, it goes off, then back on. So, hi to Goon Love there. Hi, mate. I hope it's going okay. He's a fellow Northumbrian. Nice to hear from you, mate. I hope it's okay. So turn that off. So like I say, cheap, but you seem to see these on, I've seen these on Instagram. I've had people sending me messages saying, you need to try this, it's absolutely incredible. Okay, it's a bit sort of cheap if you ask me. Goonlove wants to know when I'm going camping in the comment section there. I'd like to, but do you know what? I've never had the time. I've been dealing with family things, and it's been pretty cold. So I'm like the fair weather wanderer, for people who know who that is, where it's just not been ideal for that. I'll try and get out in the summer. I will try that. I think early in the summer I should be up somewhere in Scotland, but we'll look into that. I don't want to give anything away on that. So anyway, like I say, I got that. I'm not even going to bother reviewing it. If people really want me to review it, I might do it all in one take. So I'll go out and I'll just give my thoughts as I use it, because really it's not really up to scratch. The same can be said for, if I can find it, this was one of the things I bought. As you know, there's two main chemicals for the glow-in-the-dark stuff, you know, but this happens to be using one of the cheaper ones. So I saw this, I think it was on eBay, and they said, this is the brightest, this is incredible. So I'll just show you. So if you have a flashlight, so we'll use the SP36, so I think it's locked. Ah, it is. There you go. Right, so turn that up a bit. So what I'll do is I will infect this with some light. So there you go. So there's some light going at that now. So as you know, there's the expensive chemical which takes light in and gives it out slowly. In other words, it's a glow in the dark, and that's quite expensive and it lasts a long time. Then there's the cheapy one, which I think they've put in here. It looks like they've got a section of plastic tubing, then they've put like tile grout in or silicon or something and mixed it with the cheap chemical. So watch there. So now, in fact, I'll turn the light out. Give me a few seconds. Right, so that's the light out there. There's very little ambient light. There's a little bit there. In fact, I'll turn that off. There, so that's complete darkness. So it looks pretty bright, doesn't it? You probably think, wow, it's like the crystal of Superman. Isn't that incredible? Well, it is, but it's only like this momentarily. So I found after about 4 or 5 minutes, it's very, very much diminished from this, which is a shame. If I've got, I know I did have a pack of the better chemical, but I think that's it there, if I can find it. Do bear with me a few seconds. Very unprofessional. I should have had this ready to hand. I may not actually be able to find it here. I've definitely had some. It's called Star Glow. Where is it? No, I can't find it. I'll try and find it in another video. But it was pretty decent. Ah, there it is. Okay, so I mean, we're not going to do a timed test here, but here's some of the proper stuff. So I'll put that on there. Let's get some light into that. So this is the cheap stuff, which doesn't last very long. In other words, the output diminishes and then it goes after sort of 4 or 5 minutes. That's already a lot less than it was. It's getting a bit poor. So this stuff, now that's the proper stuff there. So if I turn this light off, I'll find the button. There it is. So that's the proper stuff there. Now look how much brighter that is. So I know this is diminished slightly, but that is almost that's so bright. It actually on the camera it looks white. It's exceptionally different in contrast to the surroundings. So I'll just to show you, it's just a powder. If I mix that about, you see how it all fractures there. Look at that. Almost looks like some sort of strange sand. So if I keep doing that, it'll mix up. There you can see the chemical mix in there. So that's just a powder. We'll get some more light on there. I can get it. What a way to spend your Friday nights, eh? Fiddling with sand-like substances that glow in the dark. There you go. So rapidly, that has a massive output on it, and it stays rapid. You know, so that was, I think, Star Glow powder, high grade photoluminescent pigment, and this was the decent stuff. I need to do more tests with this, and it does last. I've tested it; it does last a number of hours, whereas this is particularly poor and it doesn't. So I'm going to turn the light back on. Okay, what was I supposed to talk about? Well, I was supposed to talk about the headlamp, but I'm not going to review that unless people really want to force me to do that, which I can't be bothered. I may cover these in another video, but like I say, I got that one and I was promised by the seller on eBay, this is incredible. It's like holding plutonium glow in the dark, and it isn't. I'm not going to mention the seller because I'm not here to badmouth companies, but you know, poor. Anyway, so what else have I got to look at? Well, I was sent some stuff by a company I'd never heard of, Cyansky. They sent me this one. When I first saw this, I thought this is the Mir, you know, the Mir space station, the Russian space station. It isn't. It's the M1R. Now, the reason I said I would look at this one, because I thought, you know, Type C, okay, it's got UV and a red light function, although it only goes up to 200 lumens. Although, having said that, sometimes 200 to 300 is all you need for close-up work. And if it's a keychain light, that's absolutely fine. And if I can get this to focus, 2-meter impact rating and IPX8. In other words, proper waterproof. Thank God for that. So let's have a quick look at it. I'll probably be going out later on if I've got time and testing it against all of these. So there's the competition. It needs to excel. Now, lumens wise, it probably isn't, apart from the tube, which is quite low. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to mark it on, is it effective? And bear in mind, if this is putting out less lumens than these, the battery should last longer, as long as it's a similar size in chemistry. So let's have a quick look at this. There it is. So, nothing major. It looks decent enough. So it's, full body aluminum there. Cyansky M1R. That's the button. That's all you have. And then you have an entry point for the Type-C charging, which is there, and it does work whilst it's charged, and I have tested that. So there it is there, all one piece, and I presume this is sealed here, and it's a TIR, so you have the main TIR beam, then you have a red and a UV. Now if I can remember the UI on this, I think you hold it there, you hold it for on, and then you cycle through the mode, so high, low, medium, high. Pretty good. Very white beam though, whether you like that or not, another thing. There's very few in the keychain lights where they're high CRI. I mean, one exception, well, there's a few exceptions, but one that comes immediately to mind is the K2. I still think this is an underrated light. It's got rampant UI, which I think for a keychain light is pretty impressive. That's a nice beam, high CRI. That glows in the dark, although it's the cheaper chemical. Then it has these secondary modes, and it even has tiny little miniature auxiliary LEDs up there. Can you see them? Hard to see actually. This is a live stream, so the quality may not be up there, but yeah, I think that's quite interesting. So I'll be testing it against that obviously, and I'll test in the run times and stuff like that. But it does have, if you click and hold, you can go to other modes. So we'll do that. If I can remember how to do it. There. So that's your UV mode. So if you're looking for God knows what, you're into CSI or something, actually it should have an effect on the UV on the glow-in-the-dark stuff, because glow-in-the-dark stuff tends to be more happy when it gets the wavelength of UV. So there it is there, you can see. But it's hard to see because there's not a lot, the output isn't particularly high in that, but there's your UV. And I think you have red light, I think that's pretty bright. That reminds me of the secondary mode on the HC65 V2 by Nightcore, and also the jet beam I think has a pretty nice red light mode. That's the Tiki, isn't it? I always get mixed up. There's the jet beam. That jet beam has a pretty nice red light mode up there, so pretty decent. And then it also has a flashing red light mode, I think, if I remember rightly. So press that again. Yeah, I don't know what I would use that for, if I was backing up an articulated lorry or something, who knows. And then back to normal again, and you can turn that off. It does have a lock mode. I haven't even read the manual yet, but I think it's a double press, and then that seems to lock it. But I'll be having a look at that. I'll go out and I'll test it against all of them, because I'll be interested myself. As you know, I'm always testing these, and I think I'm carrying the Tiki at the minute. Yeah, the Tiki mainly, but obviously I'm carrying this to test it as well. Goonlove's just sent a message there whilst I talk. He wants to know if I've been to Glencoe. I haven't been to Glencoe, but I keep hearing about it. Is there, do you recommend it? Have you been? Because I've only heard good things about it. So let's get that out of the way. What else was I supposed to look at? I keep getting sent. Actually, I think somebody wants to send me the Lumen Top Frog and an H5 from Woburn maybe, but I'll have to see about that. So Xstar, who keeps sending me some excellent stuff, have sent me this. I presume it's just a Type-C. Quite large, look. Side profile wise, that's quite large. This is obviously using the UK plug because I'm UK based, so if you're in America or elsewhere, obviously you won't have that earth pin. Although to be fair, this earth pin seems like it has no purpose. That to me looks plastic, which you tend to get. And it looks like, yeah, okay, so that's obviously some sort of converter. So if you're in the US, boom, there you go. You don't need this gubbins. So nice to see that they're able to do that and put this converter on. Okay, so that goes in. Now let's see what the specs are on here. So Type-C, it'll put up 1.3 amps, output 5 volts, 3 amps, nice. Or 9 volts, 3 amps, 12 volts. Wow, very, very nice. So I'm hoping this has Type-C to C, in other words, power delivery, but I will test that. As you know, I always test these things thoroughly. I think the reason they've probably sent this to me is because they've also sent me, let's have a look, yet another charger. Yes, Goonlove in the comment section, I am turned into the flashlight man, but it keeps me busy during the winter, put it that way. And if there's ever a power cut, I'm the man. Blackpool Illuminations, here we come. Okay, so as you know, I got the VC8, and then I got the VC8 Plus, which is very similar but faster charging, I think. Yeah, it was about 1 amp faster charging, and now they've come out with the VC8S. I think the only difference in this iteration, which again is one better than the last one, I think when I spoke to the representative from Xtar, they said something along the lines of, well, the difference is, because I asked the question, I says, well, I've already got a VC8 Plus, because I bought the original, and then they sent me the Plus, and then this is the S. I says, what's the difference? You keep sending me these things, but if there's not much difference, there's no point in me reviewing it. I think the difference is only on certain slots can you use the grading function and things like that, whereas I think you can use all the slots on this one, or I'm hoping that's what it is. It would be nice if they'd put like a little flash here and say, look, this is the difference. There's the specs if you really want to know. So it's got the 0 voltage activation function on over discharged batteries. Most people know what that is. If you let your battery drop too much, it can get to the point where a smart charger isn't going to trickle charge it up again. What you need to do is you need to use, well, you could use a dumb charger to give it some juice, then put it in a smart charger. Or what this is doing, it's using a specific function to do that. Can you recommend a decent head torch, says Goonlove? Okay, well, it depends. What is it you're going to use it for, and how much do you want to spend? I would say if you want a very capable, very good price, you can't go too far wrong than the Woburn W1. I'll go and have a look at that. If people are watching it, and stick it in the comments section, stick the link in or something to help Goonlove out there. It's very similar to the original Nyko HC65, but kind of half the price. And Woburn are really killing it at the minute. So I would say you'll probably like that. It's got TIR, nice floody beam. You get about sort of 24 hours out of that runtime on the 18650 battery. It's got a red light mode, which is very, very handy. And the main beam is pretty good. Yeah, I would say go for that. Or if you want a real budget one and you don't want all the extra functions, look at something like the Sofern SP40. I keep recommending that to people because you can get it for like 15 to 20 bucks with the cell. That's really good. It's a right angle. It's a shame I don't have, I could go and start pulling stuff out of drawers and show you. But this was supposed to be a quick video, although we're already nearly up to 20 minutes and I've already been waffling long enough. But send me a message if you want some more information on that. But have a look at the W1 if you want a relatively cheap but multifunctional headlamp. Or if you want a super cheap one, which is still really good, just a headlamp, no red light mode and all that malarkey, the SP40 from Sofern is hard to beat. I've got one in the car, I've got one here, and I've got one at work. You know, if I'm buying them, you know they're good. Okay, so so in regards to this, like I say, it's got the 0 function activation. It's got 3-stage charging. All that does is it alters how much it's putting in at what stage of the voltage it's putting it in. Precisely cut off when it's fully charged. Most of them do, although I don't care who says that. Always take the time to supervise a charger. There's always the exception when they're not as smart as they say they are, these smart chargers, and there's a risk of fire. Bear in mind, lithium-ion batteries, you know, they're not always 100% safe, especially if you have unprotected cells. You may want to take the advice of supervise things when they're charging. Reverse charging, polarity grade, so if you put them in the wrong way around, your head doesn't blow up. Flame retardant material, good. Buffering technology, whatever the hell that is, okay. But I will look at that when I get the chance. So there you go. So there's another charger that's upcoming. Cyansky, talking of headlamps, Cyansky also sent me this. I wasn't going to look at this, but then again, I saw Type C, so I thought, okay, pretty up to date. It's got a wide beam and a more focused beam. It's got the red light mode, 1400 lumens, so well over 1,000, so very interesting. I'm presuming it's an 18650. It should say somewhere 1400 lumens, side switch, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, it doesn't actually say on here. Let's have a look. Main light, output, IPX8, okay, 118 degrees, okay. Yeah, now it's got an 1826 battery, whatever the hell that is. So I want to have a look at this. I thought it was an 18650. Let's have a look. I hope it's not some proprietary battery. So this is what you get. Now bear in mind, I haven't even had a proper look at this. I've looked at the box, but I've been testing other things. So there's the light there. Interesting. I'm presuming there's the cell there. So is this not an 18650? BL 1826. It is, it's an 18650, so I don't know why they're calling it BL. That must just be their wording. Okay, it's an 18650, bearing in mind, you know. Okay, fair enough, and it looks like a button top. So what's down there then? Okay, flat on the bottom, and then what about this end? Okay, a little spring here. So let's give this a quick shot. It looks like it's got the USB charging there on top right. Okay, fair enough. And then I like the fact it's got some metal here. If you remember the Luminite review I did, I was very enamored with the metal clip on that. Because plastic doesn't last forever, whereas metal, you can sort of bang it back into submission, which I quite like. So that's it there. Caution hot. Okay. Now, is that the top or the bottom? Now, the first thing I would say is there's no top strap, so it's not a three-pointer. It doesn't feel that heavy, but that if I'm running or it's not tight enough, that could cause a problem. So let's see. So you've got a button here and a button here. So what does that mean? So when I press that, it flashes green. What the hell does that mean? I presume that's battery level. So about 4 volts. Okay, so what happens if I click and hold? Okay. So there's a beam there. And then it goes through those modes. Okay, so you've got that mode, then brighter, much brighter, then red. Interestingly, there's 2 red LEDs. That's quite interesting, so you get more of a flood. Okay, that's pretty cool. Okay, so turn that off. So what does this button do? Not a lot. Click and hold. Right, okay. So this uses that one. Let's see what the difference is. Right, so that's a TIR, quite floody. That one is a TIR with an interesting design. It's quite reflectory on the sides, and then you've got like this strange central section. Okay, so I'm presuming you might get a little bit of distance from this. Let's turn that on. Quite bright. Let's go through the modes. Lowest, high, high, lowest. Okay, it's hard to see on camera, but there is a bit of difference there. Quite interesting spot there. I wonder how far that'll travel. But this isn't supposed to be a review anyway. There. Okay, so very interesting. I've no idea what lockout is on this, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to unscrew that a little bit. Or is it that one? It's that one. There, it shouldn't work now. Right, so sorry to take up too much of your time there. I've been waffling for about 20 minutes. So I'll look at that charger when I get a chance. I'll be out tonight or whenever I get a chance to look more at this. In fact, I can take this out of the box because I'll put that on the keychain. So far, quite impressed. But like I say, only 200 lumens. There's going to be people who scoff at that and say, rubbish, I want half a trillion in my pocket. You don't always need that, though, let's be honest. A lot of these lights, 300 is more than enough, and then maybe some cool secondary modes, which this has. It doesn't have, some of these have all different green modes and all sorts of things, which do you really use? And then I am going to test it against lights with a lot more output. So that's 380, I think, on the Nightcore Tiny. Is it 380? Pretty bright, quite a white light on that one. The original tip is 360, I think, so there's 360. But then when the tip 2 came along, which is tip SC, that one tops out, is it somewhere like 600, 700 lumens? Massive amount, but it's double TIRs there, and bearing in mind your battery's going to go down a lot quicker. If that doesn't bother you, then that's fair enough, because some people just want a quick blast to find what they want. I did get the tip 2, was it? Might have been the tip 2. Or Tiny 2, sorry, which is this with a screen, but I bought that as a present for someone, so obviously I didn't open the box and review it. I think I gave it to them for Christmas. So if they're watching this, I know sometimes they watch the channel. If they can stick in give us an honest opinion. Do you like it? If you think, why did he buy me that? It's a load of rubbish. But I was pretty confident it would be what that person wanted. So anyway, right, enough waffling. I'm going to go and have some food and a drink, and then I might pop out later on. But thank you very much for joining me. There should be a review up tomorrow if YouTube finish mucking around and encoding things, but they're very slow at the minute. Full review up tomorrow of the EA01S, not the EA01, the quad emitter with the SST 40s or 20s in it, not the 50.2 version. So that'll be up tomorrow. So if you're really bored, you can watch me waffle for an hour, and then at the end you can put took too long, how dare you. Anyway, right, thanks for joining me. If unless anyone's got any questions, I'm going to do runner. I know Gunluv had a few questions there, but I think I've answered them. And I noticed I've got about 6 or 7 viewers at the minute, but unless there's any questions, that'll do. So I'm off. So goodbye and good night. Have a good weekend.